Doorways Magazine.
Journal of Horror.
Our stories and columns as doorways to transport you to other places.
Some of those places may scare you.
Others make you sit back and think.
But all of them are here to take you out of your ordinary life for just a little while.
Where nothing follows the rules.
Where commonplace events have uncommon consequences.
Where the sound you hear.
Where the sound you hear or the movement you see from the corner of your eye is just as scary and strange as your imagination says it might be.
Visit us at doorwaypublications.com.
Hi, this is Roughhouse of Parahub Radio, the internet's only rock and roll paranormal extravaganza. Thanks for downloading this week's podcast. Now, this is a stripped-down version of our weekly show without the music and the commercials. If you'd like to hear the whole show, join us on Thursdays beginning at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, and 3 a.m. in the UK. Just go to parahub.org and you can hear the whole show and chat with us. Thanks for downloading this week's show. Hope you enjoy it. Parahub Radio, internet's only rock and roll paranormal extravaganza. Love that song. Boys are back in town from Thin Lizzy. Hi, my name is Roughhouse. For those of you that are new to the show, and we get new listeners every single week, yes, we do rock and roll. We talk about the paranormal. We do all kinds of stuff. Joining me tonight, Pete, Paula, and Anthony. Hello, stars.
Hello.
Hello.
What up?
How we doing tonight? Everything good?
Oh, yeah. Been busy as hell.
Yeah, it's
Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween Eve tonight. And if you're not busy this time of year, you're doing something wrong if you're in the paranormal. Everybody wants to talk to us. Everybody wants us to do something for them. Last Sunday, I was in Jacksonville for Zombie Walk 2008. I want to thank Jen who put that together. The pictures are at parahub.org if you're interested. I think we had almost 300 zombies walking through downtown Jacksonville. It was
That's
awesome.
about so, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty typical. It was hard to... The funny thing is, we walked by what's known as Hemming Plaza, which is downtown in Jacksonville. It's basically just a big park where people go and either A, go to play chess or, dominoes or something, or B, that's where the homeless like to congregate. It was the funniest thing to walk past Hemming Plaza, and everybody, you could see just eyes peering over bushes. People were looking at us going, what in the world is going on here? 300 zombies walking by. For people who don't know, Zombie Walk was actually a charity thing done in 50 cities around the world at the same time. And we had almost 300 where we were in Jacksonville. I don't have a grand total of how many people walked in this. It had to be in the tens of thousands, though. It was huge, and I emceed the thing Sunday, and I had a blast. It was one of the funnest things I've ever done in my life, and if you go look at the pictures, you can tell.
Did you dress up?
No, I was going to. I brought a mask, and I was going to do it, but I got so caught up in the fun, I just never dressed up. I had so much fun just walking around with everybody, and... it was great. Matter of fact, that's where I met Grim Reaper, who is going to do movie reviews for us starting tonight. So,
Awesome.
Grim was he's a great guy. He's in Jacksonville. He has a website called moviecrypt.com, and that's what he does. He reviews all kinds of movies, not just horror movies, but that's his genre that he likes. But he's going to start here. He'll be on in about an hour, 45 minutes or so. And he'll be previewing Saw 5. So
I can't believe they did that show again. I mean, once you saw 3, it's like,
I love horror movies.
Oh, I do too.
And I really kind of detest when they start doing sequels. Scream was an exception because it was supposed to be a trilogy. It's a play on itself, And I hear they're actually doing Scream 4. Is in the works, so.
Also look at Friday the 13th. You had to have a second part because Jason was really introduced into the second one,
right.
Not the first one, because the mother was the first one.
Right, which is a trivia question in Scream. But and they're redoing Friday the 13th. It's supposed to come out on a Friday the 13th in February. and that's kind of where they're going now. They're going to be redoing the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and it actually, when they redid Halloween, I was kind of like thinking, wow, why in the world would you want to do that? But if you see the movie, you kind of understand why. It gives you a lot more of the story that was missing in the first one. And I'm hoping that's what they do with Friday the 13th. But unfortunately, they're going to have to do something different because, like you said, Jason Voorhees really isn't introduced until the second one. Oh, somebody phone?
How about Jim Carrey as Freddy Krueger?
Nice. I forget. They've got somebody picked. I forget who it is right off the top of my head. But there's a new Wolfman coming out next year.
No way.
Yeah, they're redoing the Wolfman. Benicio del Toro is playing the main character. I hear that the Creature from the Black Lagoon is in the works. But, yeah, we'll talk to Grimmy about that here in just a little while. Fate Magazine. I want to say congratulations to those guys. 700th issue came out last month, and they sent me a copy for the 60th anniversary. And I don't know if you've never seen this magazine and you're into the paranormal, go grab it. Go get it off the shelf right now. The 700th issue is packed with stuff. They even sent me some trading cards with some old covers from the 50s.
Cool.
It's amazing that these guys have been around, for 60 years.
Lloyd writes for them a lot.
Yeah, Lloyd Auerbach. Matter of fact, there's a lot of our friends have been featured or mentioned or whatnot in this magazine.
I even made a Fate once.
You made a Fate? That's like making Playboy for us, isn't it? It's like it's a geek's Playboy making Fate magazine. It's been around almost as long, but in going through the magazine, it has some really cool some stories. Did you guys know that Waverly Hills is possibly being turned into a hotel?
No.
Yeah. Story says the infamous Waverly Hills Sanitarium, featured on the Travel Channel and Sci-Fi Channel, may soon become Louisville, Kentucky's next luxury hotel.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be some
big money.
Property owner Charlie Mattingly thinks the creepy old 5-story building, complete with morgue and a body chute, and guest rooms where people once lay dying of tuberculosis, could be quite a tourist draw.
So they're going to investigate it like every day now.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
if you're not tired of it already.
Now it's going to cost you $200 a night to do it.
Yeah, plus room service.
Mattingly bought the 30-acre property for $225,000 in 2001.
Wow, that's it.
And he is going to spend $18 million in renovations. So, Waverly Hills is going to be a hotel, apparently.
I don't think I would trust anything coming out of that kitchen knowing that there is a body chute.
Is that what your kids are calling it these days?
What exactly are you getting in your fruit cup,
Stop, I almost spit my Coke out. Speaking of spitting my Coke out, Great Day Houston, you were on the TV show this morning. How was that?
Yeah. It was good, actually. I had a good time with it. I think I kind of freaked out some people as far as the topics I covered. Talking about death cycles and stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, I think we had a good time with it. I think I got the crowd going pretty well. They were kind of dead asses when I first started, but then again, I followed.
Don't hold back. How do you really feel?
I followed a televangelist, and and they brought up some of their congregation in there. So as I'm looking out in the audience, I could see people that look like they have sticks up their butts, but
yeah,
it warmed up.
Yeah, anybody who wants to see see Pete on Great Day Houston, you can go to LoneStarSpirits.org, and right there on the front page, there's the picture, and you click on it, it'll take you right to the video, and you can watch Pete. Matter of fact, we got some of that interview. If we got time, we may run a little bit of it here. But we got such a packed show because it's our Halloween Eve show. It's like Christmas for us. Brad Steiger, author of like 160 some odd paranormal books. I dare say if it's
UFO, Bigfoot, and all that.
I was going to say, I dare say if anybody knows more about paranormal across the board, I don't know who it would be. Brad and his wife, she also writes books about is it communicating with animals, I believe. So,
yes,
it'll be interesting. Like I said a little while ago, Grim Reaper will be doing movie reviews. Going to review Saw here in just I don't know, about 45 minutes, give or take. So keep it right here. Paulo's got paranormal news. That's coming up on Parahub Radio.
Parahub Radio News.
Parahub Radio News brought to you by Doorways Magazine. Go by and see them at Doorways Publications and get the latest Halloween issue in stores right now, or you can get it on the website. Now here's Paulo with the latest paranormal news.
Well, folks, it's finally out. Hang on to your seats. The Ladies of the Paranormal calendar is officially out.
Yay!
I finished it. Yay.
The naked one?
Well, you have to buy one and find out.
Ah, there you go. Nice. Now, that is how you market.
You can see it at stores.lulu.com/paracharity. One word. And it features Tiffany Johnson, Reese Christian, Dr. Pamela Heath, Janice Oberding, me, Ghost Chicks, Lori Jones and Tara Dieters, League of Extraordinary Paranormal Women, Amy Williamson and Christy Robinette, Don Shy, Kat Spodino, Alexandra Holzer, Serenity Moore, and PC, a.k.a. Kathy Bartz.
Get it now.
So,
And Anthony
go
Simonetti.
get it. And Anthony's in a dress. No.
That's right.
On the back.
Okay, our buddy. Yes, Pete?
Take two.
Oh, I don't know. You have to buy the calendar to find out.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know what that meant, but moving right along.
Alrighty. Our buddy Don Shy from Pasadena Paranormal Research Society was actually just on TV a few minutes ago, actually, on the Biography Channel, actually. I almost said Travel Channel.
Well, she travels a lot. You can easily get that mixed up.
Yeah, she
thought it
was
was
just
on
on...
You were talking earlier. She wasn't on Cops?
That's tomorrow night. Special Cops featuring Don Shy. Don's in the chat room, as a matter of fact. If anybody wants to say hi to her and congratulate her, she's in the chat room right
Don.
now. Pete's
No,
got
she
his
was on Ghost Hunters Gone Wild.
Yeah, there you go.
Just kidding.
Nice.
There you go.
Nice. You can also get that by going to Amazon.com and typing in Ghost Hunters Gone Wild.
Okay, and incidentally, Pasadena Paranormal Research Society will be investigating the Wolf Manor on November 8th. And she actually told me where that was, and I didn't type it. It's in California.
I dare say Southern California, because that's where Pasadena is. So I'm going to guess it's there.
Okay. Get your cell phones, call your realtor. That old haunted house that actor Nicolas Cage bought in New Orleans, the one that's haunted, it's for sale now.
The one he never stays at.
Right, because he was too scared.
Right.
It's for sale for $3.7 million, so grab that checkbook.
Wow.
What a wuss. Why would you buy a haunted house and then turn around and wuss out to sell the damn thing?
Think about it, Pete. It's a haunted house that Nicolas Cage used to own.
Moneymaker.
Absolutely. Now, he's not only is it haunted, Nicolas Cage used to own a haunted house. Now it's going to sell for a lot more than it's worth.
Of course. Well, I'm saying somebody's going to make out like a bandit. He'll make out like a bandit on it, but I mean, as far as him buying it, what the hell was the point?
Right. Well, when you got that much money, he may not even know he knew he owned it. I don't know. That may be the real reason why he didn't stay there.
Yeah.
Whoa, hello. What is that? Somebody's pacemaker going off? Somebody Is that Pete? Is your heart all right? You're not fluctuating.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
No, I'm good. It's in a box upstairs. I'm all right.
Oh, okay. Mine's in a jar of dirt. Anyway, continuing on.
Okay, Pete, tell me if I say this right. Is it Wichita Falls, Texas, or Wichita Falls? I think it's Wichita. Wichita. Okay, Wichita Falls, Texas. And I believe there's one of those in Kansas, isn't there?
Wichita, Kansas.
Anyway, there, some members of the U.S. Air Force have formed the Military Paranormal Investigations Group.
Dun, dun, dun.
Cool.
And they claim to be approaching the field as skeptics out to debunk the world. So I just thought that was kind of funny.
Cool.
So send hate mail to me.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. The Journey Paranormal Society has an event this Friday, and it's going to be at the USS Hornet in Alameda, California, for an investigation and overnight stay.
She got that one right. She said Alameda right. That's one out of two.
And there's still room for more people, so check it out at JourneyParanormalSociety.com. Okay? Yes, Pete?
No, we're still scarred in Texas with Corpus Christi.
Yeah, dig up
open
something.
A restaurant.
Yeah, dig up something from 6 months ago that people don't even remember.
Corpus Crispy Donuts.
All right, what else?
Okay, don't miss the Ghost Adventures Halloween 6-hour marathon this Friday beginning at 7 p.m. on the Travel Channel.
Cool. Our good buddy Zach Bagans.
Is Zach crazy enough to be locked up somewhere else again? What's he doing?
Well, I missed the last episode. I hope he's not listening.
Oh, he listens every week. Now you just busted yourself.
He probably is listening. But the first episode of the new show, he's crawling in some tunnel. I'm like, oh my God. Haunted or not, I wouldn't be in there.
Yeah, he was. He said he's going to come on the show again sometime soon, but he's just been so slammed with press and whatnot. I'm like, what are we, like chopped liver? You know?
No, we're not. We're on his top friends list.
Tens of thousands of people listen to this show every week. And that's no lie. It scares the snot out of me knowing that, actually.
Tell me about it.
Wow.
More people know than my wife and her family.
Absolutely. That's tomorrow. Zach and the boys, and this is the one that's got Debbie and Mark Constantino, I believe, right?
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Yeah, the EVP people, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be on it, too.
Cool when they were on.
Well, this is going to be a marathon, too, so they're probably playing the documentary.
Oh, right. Yeah, Ghost Adventures. So, alrighty. Anything else?
Okay, yeah. Well, is there a new species of cat in Ecuador? Or could it be chupacabra? Is it a bird? Is it a plane? Is it?
Superman.
No.
Chupraman.
Superman.
Good night.
Actually, I know this one isn't really paranormal, but it turned out to be a really cute but strange-looking creature that looks like a cross between a house cat and a raccoon, kind of, with a flatter nose and cat markings. And it's actually kind of pretty.
Cool.
Woohoo!
Alrighty. Well, let's wrap it on up here so we can get Brad Steiger on.
Let's see, I have to remember what I'm saying. From the internet's only rock and roll paranormal extravaganza, I'm Paula Jedi with Paraha Radio News, brought to you by Doorways Magazine.
Yep.
See them at doorwaysmagazine.com. Is that correct?
There you go. Sounds good.
All right.
Brad Steiger up next.
Parahub Radio.
Doorways Magazine.
Journal of Horror and the Paranormal.
Our stories and columns as doorways to transport you to other places.
Some of those places may scare you,
Others make you sit back and think.
but all of them are here to take you out of your ordinary life for just a little while.
Where nothing follows the rules.
Where commonplace events have uncommon
Where the
consequences.
sound you hear
Where the sound you hear or the movement you see from the corner of your eye is just as scary and strange as your imagination says it might be.
Visit us at doorwaypublications.com.
Dun, 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 dun. Parahub Radio, the internet's only rock and roll paranormal extravaganza. Rick Springfield, Jesse's Girl, going back to the 80s with that one. And Rick Springfield out on tour right now. Matter of fact, he's playing right here in my backyard for the 50th anniversary of NASA in Cape Canaveral. The show is going on right now, so I'm missing it. So that's kind of why I played that song there. Joining us tonight, Pete, Paula, and Anthony, it's Mr. Brad Steiger. Brad is an author. I call these kind of guys uber authors because, Brad, you've written over 150 books on the paranormal. How many exactly? Do you know?
166.
166, so just over 150 books on the paranormal. Thank you so much for joining us on our Halloween show tonight.
It's my pleasure.
And these books, and that's just you. That's not including your wife's books, right? Your wife's books. I said wives. Oops, kind of a Freudian slip
okay.
there.
I would say authored and co-authored.
Okay.
So that does include the books I've done with my wife, yes. So
All
I've
right.
authored and co-authored 166 books. Actually, probably 168 now because we just sent one off that we think is going to be dynamite.
That's a whole lot of books, regardless of how you slice it.
Yeah.
I
started young, so what can I say?
I was going to say, where did you start this process? I mean, you had to have been in your teens, I guess, maybe?
Yes, that's correct.
And the first thing that got you, that when you sat down and said, I'm going to write a book about that, what was the first thing that happened?
The first book that I did was, and this is quite understandable, a collection of my articles that had appeared in various magazines.
So you had written articles about the paranormal prior to the books?
Started in 1956.
Wow. And is it... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, by 1965, then, did a collection of articles called Ghosts, Ghouls, and Other Peculiar People. That was, I think it sold for 50 cents, and I see it now collectors are asking around $100 for it.
Wow.
I wish I got royalties on those collector books.
Yeah, you didn't think about that stuff back then,
Oh, yeah. Sherry was looking up the other night some of our older books and what they're selling for. I mean, it's just incredible. And I know people think we get that money, but, if you just stop and think, that's long ago, and it's collectors who are making the money now. But
right.
I guess I should be flattered that people are collecting my books.
Absolutely.
There's so many people now, and I really love their interest, and I want to be patient. But there are so many people now who are doing I guess they think they're doing my biography or whatever, and they're asking all kinds of questions like, what did you feel when you were writing this, and which books did you write? What pages did you write?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I really appreciate your interest, but I mean, come on. Thinking back to 1956, I don't really remember what kind of mellow mood or whatever I was in.
Right. I guess you're talking about radio interviews you've been doing?
No, these are emails.
Okay.
Emails.
I see.
Wonderful, wonderful people. I just, it kind of, what do I say? I started writing when I was 15,
mm-hmm.
and I started corresponding with some people when they were 15, and now those people are publishing my books. It's just been kind of a wonderful ring of return here.
And
wow.
That's as amazing as it... I mean, I can barely write like a term paper or, a journal myself. I'm just in here trying to fathom me trying to write 166, 168 books. Where do you draw the energy for that?
We each have our thing that we came here to do, and that's obviously what I can't think of. Well, other than wanting to be a cowboy, I can't think of anything I've ever wanted to be. and that was, of course, when I was young, walking around with my cap gun.
Right. Well,
no, seriously, I think if I had started academically, I took my degrees, as one might guess, in American literature, world literature, and then I got my major in psychology and sociology, because there's not such thing as, a degree in parapsychology. Maybe it's been offered once here and there, and then it disintegrates. So as I tell every kid who writes to me, it's psychology you have to take and sociology. But if I could do it again, the other great passion that I have and that I share with my wife is archaeology. And that's why I've written such book as Worlds Before Our Own, Mysteries of Time and Space, Atlantis Rising, and so forth, which have been among my all-time bestsellers.
All right, we're talking with Brad Steiger, Uber author of 166. Yeah, I like that because that really, there are very few authors that actually fall into that category, and obviously, you fall right in there.
Well, I'm just impressed you know the word.
Uber author?
Yeah. You studied it all week.
Yeah, I really did. I wrote it down. I have it on my hand. I've been saying it all day long in my head. Uber author, Uber author. You write about pretty much the gamut in the paranormal, from ghosts to UFOs to cryptozoology, into the beyond. What is your favorite kind of subject to write about?
Oh, I'm not good at questions like your favorite color and so forth.
Well, that's what we do as interviewers. We ask the hard questions. Sorry.
That's
right,
the toughest one of all. No, I suppose, mysteries of our past, the prehistoric. Well, let me put it this way. Every book I've ever written is trying to answer the questions of who are we really and where are we going?
Well, who are we really and where are we going?
Well, I think we're someone very different from what the Orthodox texts would have us believe.
Yeah.
And that's what I've written about. And, Worlds Before Our Own, I've been delighted that it's been republished. But when that came out in 1975, I mean, people were literally reviews, full-page reviews were demanding this book be burned, that this book be banned. And, I wasn't trying to fight with anybody. I was just writing about something I was excited about.
Yeah.
And that was just all the evidence of what our prehistory may really be. And it's, I realize this is Halloween and we're probably going to get to the spooky stuff. Ghosts, then, are my, tie for my favorite, because ghosts, what's more important than survival? And, of course, that answers one of those questions. Who are we? Where are we going? I do believe in an afterlife. I had a near-death experience at age 11, which put me... If I had not had that experience, I probably would have been the Lutheran pastor that all my family thought I would be, and some thought I was until I was probably 30-some, and they saw some of my books and said, "Oh, my God, where did you go wrong?" But it was that near-death experience that I just saw the denominations and our belief concepts as we fashion them as human beings just have no universal or eternal meaning, that there is so much more, and it doesn't make any difference what your faith. We are all of one spirit. We are all of one life. We are all of one breath.
You're not anti-religion, though, right?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I'm not, anti-anything except stupidity.
Wow, there's a big chunk of cookie for that one. Because goodness gracious, this genre here, we call the paranormal, has a whole bunch of that. We won't call names.
Unfortunately, always has and always will.
This is true. We're talking with author Brad Steiger. Pete and Anthony are joining me. Also, I'm going to throw it to Pete. I know you have like 10 questions you want to ask.
Oh, I've actually got more than that, but I don't think we have enough time.
We'll throw one this way.
Okay. Brad, you had mentioned that each book that you start to write, it's to answer a question of who we are and where we're going. What is your process to go through as far as the topic or the discussion that you want to do on each book? Like, for instance, if you're bringing up ghosts, how do you sit down and put it together as far as what you want to try to get the story to do? Does that make any sense? Probably not.
I think so, Pete. I know we've been corresponding for quite a while, so I think you kind of have a little peek inside my creative process. I guess I don't like to use words like this lightly, but I think we each have certain gifts or maybe abilities.
Okay.
And one thing that people commented on my very first book is how I bring so many elements together that they just wouldn't have thought of associating, and now they see it coming together as one.
Okay.
Now, God blessed me in giving me a wife who has that same kind of holistic thinking. We've been, ever since we were children probably, we've been ridiculed at one time or another because we may not pay attention to what's happening in front of us because we see and I'm not saying this egotistically and infinitely and absolutely, but we see a larger picture. We see a larger picture, and we see how things are like things. In other words, it's kind of like a poetry where we're using metaphors and similes as a poet might use them to compare a rose to a summer day or to his beloved. We are seeing how the paranormal has its reflections in shadows in so many areas of our life, and then bringing them all together in some kind of fashion and progression and schematic progression in the book that makes sense. And I guess this is just something that, I taught creative writing for 10 years.
Okay.
And teaching creative writing is kind of profession of sham right there because you can't really teach anyone how to write. They have the ability and they want to apply it, and you can direct them.
I got straight A's in that, by the way. In creative writing, I got straight A's in creative writing.
Well, great. And, I have so many of my former students who are now published authors. And a couple of them who I think are trying to catch up with me. I think one has written now about 65 books and still going strong. So.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
What is the average? When you talk about, this is a lot of books. What is just out of curiosity the average number of pages in one of those books? We're not talking like 200 or 300 pages books, right?
Oh yes.
Really? That's a lot.
Goodness, yes.
That's a lot of writing.
Our conspiracies and secret society is 600 and some pages.
Wow.
Real ghosts, restless spirits, 600 and some pages.
Very good.
You got to give people their money's worth, especially in this day and age.
Well, that's true. A lot of people aren't doing that either. Stupidity and stealing. That's a lot of that. But anyway.
Naughties.
All right, Anthony, go ahead. I know you got a question.
Yeah, I was wondering, your favorite project to work on most recently. If you were to recommend one book, what would it be?
Oh, yeah, I just said I can't do that, Anthony.
Well, see, that's what we do.
I've got to know.
You have to know?
I have to know. I'm sorry.
Well,
put me on the spot.
All right. You asked for it.
We pay him to ask those questions because we don't want to.
We
make him the bad guy.
We have just. What do you do? Draw straws to see who's the bad guy?
Yeah, Anthony's going to be the bad guy tonight. Sorry, short
Okay. Well, Anthony kind of has a history of being bad guy,
That's true. That's true. See,
Yeah.
look at this. Brad's familiar with the
me
show.
all too well. That's
he knows.
Anyway, seriously, folks, we have a couple books coming out. One called Real Angels and Benevolent Beings.
Mm-hmm.
And this will stretch the definition of angel far more than any other writers have ever done. And it's bound to be controversial. It's bound to be declared heretical by some, but I think it will really stretch the minds. So that's one that will be coming out soon. And then we've just finished one that will probably be a lot of fun and inspiration.
Okay.
And it's Real Miracles. I probably won't get the title all right. An incredible survival and divine intervention. How's that?
Wow.
Okay.
That's a
And
mouthful.
they're incredible stories of real miracles that have happened. And this is a new editor. We haven't worked with this one before. The publisher we've worked with many times, VIP, Visible Ink Press, who did the Real Ghost and the conspiracy books and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And the editor is just going wild for it. It's one of those books. We wanted to write a book that was like a big bag of popcorn. You just can't stop. You just have to, I just got to read one more story before I shut off the light. And it's that kind of book that you just say, wow, and this really happened to somebody. Oh, my gosh, how did that person survive? Or how they're just incredible stories that we've been collecting for, between the two of us for 40 years.
Yeah.
Do you have any teasers or little tidbits from the book you'd like to share with us?
Well, we do the complete range, from people who go to bed one night and they're very peaceful. They have an almost idyllic situation. Superintendent of a state park in Missouri. And there's a fail-safe on the new reservoir they've built with 70-foot walls. But, sometimes those computers just don't work. And several billion gallons of water burst and come down on this little house with a family of 4.
Wow.
And how they managed to survive. And every one of them did.
Wow.
Stories like that you say, how could it be? Or people lost in the mountains. A 15-year-old girl who is, she's a German. She's going to school in Peru. She wants to be a biologist like her parents. And they're flying to meet her father for Christmas, on Christmas vacation. They're leaving Lima, Peru, and the plane explodes with a lightning bolt. This girl falls in her seat from 2 miles up, lands in the rainforest, frees herself from her seatbelt. Now, 2 miles she's fallen. And then she walks for 10 days, finally finding a logging camp. She's covered with leeches. She's covered with bites. There are worms hatching within her flesh.
Oh.
But she made it.
No way.
So,
the 2 mile fall was the best part of that whole story. Wow.
You got it.
Oh,
you
man.
got it. We've got stories of skydivers who were higher than that, and their chute didn't open. And they land in a mud puddle, and all they have is scratches, or at best a broken nose. Yeah. Stories like this, it's just packed with those. And you just got to read the next one.
Right. Sounds interesting. Brad Steigers, who we're talking to right now, the books that these books you're talking about right now, do you have an idea when those are going to be released?
One
Is that another hard question? I'm sorry.
No, but you're dealing with another force, another intelligence. You're dealing with publishers, and they are a force and intelligence unto themselves, and they decide these things. So, far be it from authors to declare those. But I would say you'd be seeing both of them within the next few months.
Oh, cool. So it's probably sometime after Christmas, early 2009. Yes. Okay.
Exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
Okay. Awesome. We're talking with Brad Steiger. Pete, I know you've got another question just itching to talk about.
Oh, yeah. I want to get into ghosts.
Go ahead.
Okay. Brad, when you are writing a book on ghosts, do you investigate these stories? And if you do, what is the either the most memorable event that you've ever dealt with, or the scariest that you've dealt with?
I suppose memorable and scariest happen to come together in this situation. This was way back in my early days of investigation.
Okay.
And I had pretty well put together a theory of ghosts and hauntings that I was comfortable with, and I'm still comfortable in most cases, and that's that ghosts are a psychic residue that somehow left in the environment, and those of proper psychic sensitivity activate that, and you can't interact with a ghost any more than you can interact with the images on your television set or movie screen. So I had pretty much used that theory in investigating several houses.
So
and then I came up. Pardon me?
You mean kind of like place memory, as far as
that
goes?
That could be another name: residual memory or residual energy or place memory.
Okay.
Then I came up against this house in which a series of murders, terrible murders, had taken place over the years. Now, this was just a house, obviously, that just hated people.
Mm-hmm.
The same murder, in a sense, different people, but the same modus operandi would be replicated by the couples that moved in, till you might guess no one lived there for many, many years, until this one family moved in, and they were undergoing an enormous amount of energy, horrible faces appearing, blood coming out of the faucets. I mean, you just name kind of every classic haunting, they were experiencing it.
Wow.
This was an instance then where, because I was an expert, right? I mean, I was 30-some years old, and I had everything ordered and structured, and had written the books, and I was an authority, for Pete's sake. So I come in, and there's a door where one of the murders had taken place, and the door keeps trying to close me in. Now, you have to understand that this was an old house, an old basement, where it obviously was just dirt at one time, and they poured concrete over it, so it was very rough.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way this door could close by itself. It would have to go over this mound of cement. But it was pushing itself over that mound of cement and trying to trap me in the room where the murders had taken place. So I could see there was an energy involved, but again, very arrogantly, I finally stepped out, and I said to members of my team, I said, all right, if the blankety-blank thing wants the blankety-blank door closed, close it and lock it. Then I went upstairs very triumphantly, and I had barely got upstairs when an invisible force, an invisible intelligence, blew that door off the hinges and lifted every one of us, every member of the team, into the air and then dropped us.
Really?
Now, my worldview extended considerably from that moment on. I had to revise so many of my pet theories, because here, undeniably, was an intelligence. It could hear me, and it could certainly respond.
That's one of the drawbacks of calling out spirits is sometimes they answer.
Well, absolutely. So now, of course, I have all kinds of cautions, and in all of my books, I've got cautions and techniques. I know that many groups say that they use the techniques, the exercises, and so forth that we have on our website before they go to a house that they know is really psychically poisoned or that is really possessed. They use these techniques.
Yeah.
But I didn't have those techniques then because I was really smart. And I had everything structured and ordered. I didn't believe in evil spirits. Come on, man. That's medieval.
Right.
And then,
so that not only caused you to
revive.
change. I'm sorry. That not only caused you to change your views, but it must have also caused you to change your pants, I'm imagining.
Well, I managed to control that.
I
mean,
thank goodness.
I don't know that I would have. I'll tell you.
No, something like that. And then encountering that again and again, in different houses, being pushed, being hit, and you realize, again, you surround yourself with a light of protection.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's just a mechanism, it doesn't matter.
Right.
People say, well, I said the rosary, I did this, I did that. I said, that probably doesn't matter at all, to the spirit, or whatever prayer you make. But what's really important is that you're jamming the frequency.
Right.
So, okay, whistling in the graveyard, that's very important. I don't think you should go to a graveyard and whistle, but what I'm saying is that idea is, and I tell people now, if you feel and you're confronted with that, come out with a song. Now, it shouldn't be, a sexy, suggestive song, or that will get you in trouble. But it should just be, if it's a favorite hymn or it's, whatever, you're breaking the frequency. You're breaking the contact that's made with you.
Right.
So that's why it's important. And I told someone, not long ago, someone phoned in on a radio program and said, I always say the Lord's Prayer. And I said, it probably doesn't matter at all. But, the fact that you're doing that and jamming the frequency is what's important, because what I call spirit parasites, they've never been human, I believe, but they afflict us and they invade us when we are vulnerable to them. But they don't care, if you do a mantra or if you do a rosary or whatever.
Right.
But you can break their frequency. You can break their contact.
Right. It's I guess kind of like doctors. They give placebos, and you think that it's doing you good, therefore it is.
That's a good analogy.
If rubbing sage may work for one person because they think that's going to work, but if you will go in there going, okay, go ahead and do it, chances are it's not going to work for you.
That's right.
That's
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You're picking up exactly.
Right. An old friend of the show that you may or may not have known, Peter James. We tell his story all the time. He used to call that stuff condiments because it's all basically sea salt, and all it really was. It didn't do anything unless you thought that it would. You could have just been spraying ketchup all everywhere. If that worked for you, then that's how it is.
That's right.
We're talking with author Brad Steiger. It is Halloween Eve, and if anybody knows about ghosts, Brad probably can tell you just about anything you want to know. And if you got any questions in the chat room, feel free to go ahead and answer. You were talking a little while ago about some of the stuff being controversial. Back in the day, back in those 50s and 60s, talking about the paranormal obviously was not like it is today. Today it's pretty open. You can talk about it, and everybody goes, I got this ghost story. Back then, they would wrap you up in a white jacket.
I mean,
you can even,
I went
make stuff now.
Yeah, exactly.
I went on show after show, and of course, in those days, we didn't do it like we're doing now with the telephone.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was doing a radio talk show in Pittsburgh, I had to go to Pittsburgh. If I did one in New York, I had to go to New York. You know, you had to be in the studio.
Go see Mike Douglas or go see, Dinah Shore or, whoever you were going to talk to. You had to go see him, yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, now I'm sitting here in my sweat clothes, completely comfortable. Before it had to be suit and tie and it'd go on.
Right.
But just before we would go on, I would have, and this happened to me time and time again. The host would say, "Boy, Steiger, I'm going to rip you apart." Now, how would you like to hear that? Just, as they're counting down and you see the guy's fingers going 4, 3, 2, 1, you're on.
Right. Kind of like, sitting with James Randi or something like that,
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of intense.
And, just the building, it just... for someone who started doing the talk shows, in 63 and 64, and I look back on now, I mean, it's just... and, of course, there's almost everything has another edge to it, doesn't it?
Right.
I suppose the drawback is now we have, God bless them, a lot of young people out there who have listened to your radio program, listened to your expertise, maybe watched a History Channel special, read 2 books, and now they're ghost researchers.
Yeah, they're professionals now.
They're professionals.
There's a question from the chat room here. With all your experience and knowledge of the paranormal, what are your views on the Amityville Horror? Is it true or a hoax to you?
Oh, boy. That is... that... We could do a whole program on that.
We've had people from both sides on the show.
Yeah. See, little known fact is, they at the beginning, they came to me with the idea, do you want to do a book on? There's been a series of murders and so forth and so forth. And I said, nah, I've done some true crime, but I'm not really interested. Well. Then, of course, we know how the book came out, the haunting, the possession, and so forth. Now, Ed and Lorraine Warren, have been friends of mine since the beginning of the century, the last century.
Nice.
And I think the world of them and their investigations. What I don't think anyone can deny is they've made a cottage industry out of the Amityville Horror.
To say the least.
I mean, the last time I saw it was a dollhouse, and this little girl.
There was also
so
one
again.
Too.
I'm sorry.
A haunted clock. I think there was like a book of somebody had taken a clock out of the original house, and the spirits followed them or something.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, of course that happens. We know that happens, but. I was able to speak to both of the principals while they were still married.
Mm-hmm.
They are both deceased now.
Right. And
they were still married at the time. I was giving a lecture in Phoenix, and they came up afterwards, introduced themselves. And now they swear that. Not all the incidents in the famous book, and certainly in the famous movie, happened, but they still swore by the core.
We're talking about the former owners of the house.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. They still, and a long talk, and I certainly was convinced by their sincerity. Now, in my book. Real Ghosts, Restless Spirits, and Haunted Places, I asked my friend and fellow author Paul Bartholomew, who primarily does cryptozoological books, to interview all the principals. The man was still living at the time, and of course he reviewed the situation with Ed and Lorraine. And I think, as so often, we have germs of a true story that just became infested and kept growing and growing until, as I say, undeniably we have a cottage industry.
Right.
And how I felt kind of, I don't know, in Real Ghosts, when we did the article on Amityville, of course, the gentleman who is still alive insisted we put, trademark besides Amityville Horror every time we used it, and that kind of left a little bad taste in my mouth. But
right, I can imagine.
I don't know. See, so often, how do you speak definitively on that? Obviously,
right.
It's been exaggerated, it's been corrupted, but I believe the couple who this allegedly happened to, that sincerely there were a number, and in my book Real Ghost, we Paul Bartholomew, good friend, put together what we think is the true essence of what really happened there, and of course it's not nearly as glamorous as a Hollywood movie, but
never is.
I don't know. To me, like when Poltergeist came out, I saw who was advising and so forth, and I thought, this is really going to be a good movie. Well, the first time I watched Poltergeist, I thought, this is baloney. I mean, this is Disneyland. This is, you open the door and all the toys are going around and making music. Well, then I went to see it again as just a movie without expectations. Now, I still maintain that if you did a real Poltergeist story, it would truly be frightening if you really focused on. Now, to me, movies like Cloverfield or Godzilla, they don't frighten me, because anything that big, you don't have a chance.
Right.
But, you're alone home at night and you hear something scratching in your closet. Well, that's scary.
Right.
That's,
exactly.
or you hear someone breathing heavily in your room, and you can't see anyone, but it's not your breath, and it's not your wife, and it's not your puppy. Something is in the room with you. Now that's scary.
Yeah, it's something.
And Hollywood,
right.
Hollywood doesn't do that.
Right.
They do epics.
Exactly. They can't get into your head or take you out of that comfort zone, because where you are is comfort. You're sitting in a comfortable chair. They can't really do the real thing. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're talking with Brad Steiger, author of many, many, many books, and we've run out of time here. We have to do a movie review here coming up in just a minute. Real quick, the latest book you have out right now is titled. What's the title of it?
The title of it is, and again, I'm delighted. This was 1971 originally. It's been voted the Paranormal Book of the Year for 2008. And Otherworldly Affairs.
Awesome. And that's
Haunted Lovers, Phantom Spouses, and Sexual Molesters from the Shadow World.
And this is the one that's worth a lot of money if you can find the original copies of this. So,
well, don't find the original. Go out and buy the new one.
Absolutely. And where can I get the new one?
Certainly should be in bookstores, but then the good old electronic bookstores that are taking over everything. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Borders, all of those that are accessible that way. Again, that's both a blessing and, pretty hard on bookstores, but at least everyone can find them now. You just click them on the Internet.
Absolutely. They were all there. And the website, that people can check you out?
Thank you. It's www.brad, B-R-A-D, and, spell out and, A-N-D, Sherry, SHERRY.com.
BradandSherry.com. Say hi to Sherry for us. When
Certainly will. And happy Halloween, you guys.
Thank you so much, Brad, for coming on the show. We sure do appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Hey, coming up next week, if you're into cemeteries, Catherine Ramsland, she's written a book called... let's see, what is the name of that book? Cemetery Stories? Check it out next week. She's going to be talking about things you should and shouldn't do in a cemetery. On right now, ladies and gentlemen, we're starting a new segment of the show, Grim D. Reaper, doing our movie reviews. Hello, Grimmy.
Greetings, I'm Grim D. Reaper, the real host of MovieCrypt.com. Since Kevin is usually laughing at me while I'm making videos, I'm going to sit back and laugh at him doing an interview. Go ahead.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. So he's going to...
Sorry, I've been thrown under the bus. Sorry about that.
So Grim's going to step aside and let you do it?
Yeah, mostly so you can smack me in the back of the head every time I go off course.
Wow. Well, let us, first of all, tell us a little about the website. So this is our first show, so we got to kind of, do a little backstory here. We met at Zombie Fest, or Zombie Walk, I should say, in Jacksonville this past week.
Yes. That was pretty good.
Yeah, was that not the most cool thing you've ever seen?
And people kept showing up, and the cops were in on it. That was nice.
Yeah, that was the best, because there was a football game going on at the same time. The Jaguars are taking on the Cleveland Browns, and so the traffic was just, it was a nightmare because they were rerouting everything, and we were just almost 300 of us just walking across the intersection there, and people sitting at a red light just fuming because they're trying to get to the game and they can't because there's zombies walking in front. So that was awesome. So the website is MovieCrypt.com. How long has that been around?
Actually, it's in its 10th year.
Wow, look at you go. Joining us tonight also is Pete and Anthony. What movie are we reviewing tonight? I forget.
Saw 5 we can talk about a little bit.
Oh, that's right. Do we need a 5? I mean, really?
Well, they're kind of pushing for a total of 6. Originally, the 5th one was not supposed to come out till next Halloween, and then they were going to do one right after that, but since they have managed to pull one off every late October since the series was inception, that somehow they managed to pull it together again.
It's been 5 years in a row, hasn't it, just about?
Yep.
Wow, that's amazing. It's kind of like, Will Smith on 4th of July,
Now, is there a significance between the 6th installment, as you just mentioned?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Yes. Is there significance? I thought you said that there's supposed to be only like 6 Saws.
Mm-hmm.
Is there significance to the to the 6?
Well, somewhere after the 4th one, somebody said, "Okay, are we going to do this forever?" And I believe Lionsgate said, "No, we definitely have a thing." And somebody threw out the word 6. And then after the 4th one actually came out and did fairly successful, then they came out and said, "Okay, we're going to do 5 and 6, but we're going to take a year off." So there's going to be a Halloween without Saw, and all the fans went, "No, not that." So they started rushing it back into production, and here we are.
Wow.
Because I remember when Friday the 13th came out, and there was either a lot of rumor that there were supposed to be 13 installments of it because of the name of the franchise.
Yeah, that's
by the time they remake it, there'll probably be 13 and then some.
Yeah. Let's see. We had Jason X about 3 years ago. Then there was Freddy versus Jason that came after that. So we're right at 13, just about. If this remake that's coming out next year isn't the 13th one, it's the 12th, give or take. So
it's 11 or 12, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Saw 5, is it worth going to spend the money on? I mean, I love the first one. The second one, not so bad. Third one, for what it was, I liked it. I did not see the 4th one, unfortunately. Can you see?
Well, there's going to be some lap, or you've missed some things, of course. Right. Revelations, really.
Of course, so you have to see 4 to see 5.
Right now, it's a fan series.
Yeah,
it really is. The fans are completely into it, and it's almost a guaranteed paycheck because from last year to this year, the box office total was almost exactly the same. 4 and 5 opened to the exact same weekend with almost identical numbers. Mm-hmm. Which, hey, anytime you can put together, $10, $15 million and guarantee 30 in your opening weekend, they're going to keep making them.
Absolutely. For those who may not know what the Saw series is about, it's pretty much blood and guts. It may be one of the most disturbing horror movies that you ever go see. I saw the first one in the theater, and I walked out of there shaking, not from fear, but from just, queasiness.
Well, they call it torture porn.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much it.
The guy that plays Jigsaw, how old is he now?
Tobin Bell?
Yeah.
Well, you know he died.
He's in his 60s, but they can keep bringing him back infinitely with flashbacks, photography, whatever.
Right. You never die in Hollywood. I mean, it's always, you're always going to be brought back. The character, which I thought was funny, the main murderer, I guess you could say. Well, yeah, he was killed off in the third one, I think it was, and they keep somehow resurrecting him without actually resurrecting him. And I don't want to give anything away. I mean, it really is a fun series to watch. It's kind of like Scream. You look forward to the next one. Which, by the way, have you heard that they're doing Scream 4?
They're talking about it. Unfortunately,
it was designed to be 3. I think we should just leave it at that. But anyway, Saw 5. Is it worth going to see?
If you're a fan, you'll probably enjoy it. Lots of revelations, plenty of the Jigsaw traps, Jigsaw-inspired traps. If you're not into it, or if you're just getting on board, maybe not so much.
Really? Okay. Movies coming out. There's only a couple months left of the year. What's the next great movie coming out?
Well, that's a tough one. The expected next best movie, of course, is Twilight, for lack of a better word, tween vampire story. True Blood Light, for anybody who's got HBO.
Right. That is one of... It's like Harry Potter. It has quite a following to it. It's like
I can't get over the main vampire, the guy that got playing him. He's got these werewolf like eyebrows. Every time he's on screen, it's like eyebrow. It's just
unibrow monster.
It's not even a unibrow. They're just two eyebrows. I can't stop looking at the eyebrow. And the rest of it, if you've watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, if you've watched True Blood, which is really it definitely could not be shown anywhere but HBO.
Right.
I mean, there's theaters who would not show what they're showing on this in this series on screen at any rate.
Yeah.
So, but this has all been done before. The difference is now it's being done with 16 to 20-year-olds.
Wow. It's not the genre is nothing new. I mean, there's always been a youth culture that's followed these kind of movies. So I mean, it really kind of you're talking about built-in audience. I mean, does it get any more built-in than Twilight?
Well, it is based on a book series, and of course that's what Hollywood's looking for right now. Is they're looking for low risk, high turnout. They're looking for the next Harry Potter, and they really expect that Twilight's going to be it. And of course, it's also I believe it's backed by Warner Brothers, so they deliberately moved Harry Potter into next summer, and it's already being reported as the big thing to see next summer.
Right. That'd be the 5th or the 6th movie for...
It's actually the 6th, but it's going to be broken in 2. So right now there's going to be a total of 8 movies out of 7 books.
Wow. Okay. I had not heard that. It's kind of like a Tarantino kind of thing. When they broke, was it Kill Bill? Broken into 2
Which
movies.
They shouldn't have done. They really shouldn't have done that. But then again, I guess Grindhouse wasn't all that successful because people left after Planet Terror, and the whole point was it was a double feature, and people didn't realize they were missing half the movie.
Right.
They just weren't open to that experience.
Yeah, well, they should have. I don't know. Did they put that on the screen? Did I tell you don't go anywhere? Double feature.
It said intermission, and then the next funny part was they had fake trailers for more Grindhouse flicks, like Werewolf Women of the SS, right. Starring Nick Cage as Fu Manchu, a Rob Zombie film. It's just like, we've got to make this movie. And Machete. Dun, dun.
Right.
That was funny. Hey, Grim, did you have an opportunity to see The Strangers, and what did you think of that? The Aegis came out.
Well, but before I go into that, let me go back and add one bit to Saw. I've seen Turistas, I've seen Hostel, and a lot of my fellow critics. I'm also with the Online Film Critics Society, OFCS.org. If you've been to RottenTomatoes.com lately, you'll notice that there hasn't been that many reviews on Saw 5. It's pulling like about a 13, and I'm one of like 6, maybe 5 positive reviews on it.
Mm-hmm.
The entire torture porn genre, as it's been labeled, it has kind of gotten a bad rap, even though Saw kind of was the one that instigated this 5 years ago. Right. But the one thing I think it sets the Saw series apart is that you have a character, Jigsaw, Tobin Bell's character, who doesn't really believe that what he's doing is torture or murder.
Yeah.
As a character, he has this whole concept that this is rehabilitation. That if you can get through this experience, if you make this choice, then you're instantly rehabilitated.
Right.
And that's what he's going for.
Yeah.
Then you have a movie like The Strangers that doesn't seem to be anything more than a highbrow snuff film. to be honest with you.
Well, they said it was based on true events. Have you figured out what those true events are? Other than
take your pick and find, and I can say this because I have roots in West Virginia. Find any place off the highway where time's kind of passed it by, and put a bunch of people in a house and have some neighbors stop by. Nice. It's
here's a gunny sack. Put it on your head. Let's party.
It's like
haunted house kind of thing.
Yeah, goodness gracious.
It's basically an excuse to stalk through and set up all these situations. To be honest with you, I didn't find it realistic. Mm-hmm. I didn't find it all that surprising. And at the very end, I'm sure there are people in the audience going, oh, wow, we've never seen anything like this before. And that's not the fan base. So I'm trying to figure out who they make this movie for.
Right. It's kind of like those M. Night Shyamalan movies. It's kind of, you walk out going, did I see what I just saw? Or,
And those are steadily getting worse, too. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, his last one sucked.
Yeah, well, the last two, actually, I thought. The Village and Lady in the Water or whatever it was.
Oh, no, you're not even including the Happening.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about
The Happening, the Crappening, the Hattening. There's actually been several YouTube spoofs made on it already.
For those who haven't seen The Happening, I'm going to spoil it for you. The trees did it.
It was Greenpeace. It was Greenpeace. Destroy the rainforest. They will kill you if we don't.
2 weeks we're going to be doing this again. We'll do it every other week. What movies are you going to be seeing in the meantime?
Well, this week is actually 2 films are going to kind of split the box office, most likely, unless something else rears its head. And I don't think Saw is going to be able to carry it. There's the Haunting of Molly Hartley, which, again, it's another tweener thing. It kind of looks like Carrie meets The Covenant, and I'm hoping it's less The Covenant and more Carrie.
Cool. Awesome.
And then Kevin Smith has his newest View Askew, which is going to be Zach and Miri Make a Porno.
Well, you and I were talking about that here a little while ago before the show. Apparently, there is a I don't know. Is there a push to shorten the title? Is that what you were saying?
Well, they had to scrap the original poster because the MPAA didn't want anything on there depicting anything that. And this is the guys that did Basketball and South Park, Matt Trey Trey and Parker, those guys.
Right.
They did Orgasmo.
Right.
Which, if you haven't seen it, there's a lot of phallic symbology throughout this film,
just a bit.
In the form of superhero weapons and such. Right. And again, nothing was actually portrayed in any actual sexual encounter, but the MPA said, no, can't even suggest that. You can show Saw and people being cut in half by the Pit and the Pendulum Trap on screen, blood everywhere, but you can't show people doing friendly things. Right. So you have Zach and Miri make a porno.
but they did marionettes having a sex scene.
Right.
Well, that's true. Yes, but that was. But they did that only because they could get away with it. The original cut of, and he's talking about Team America World Police, by the way. Right. They actually did far worse than what was originally shown, just to get the MPA's attention, so they wouldn't notice all the other stuff they were slipping through that was never intended to be in the final cut anyway. Right. So it's like, here you go, but. They actually prevented them from showing the original poster. So Kevin Smith's team said, you know what? Hey, great, good idea. So they literally drew 2 stick figures, one with Seth Rogen's trademark curly hair, the other one with some boobs and a skirt for the girl, and they said, this is the only thing the MPAA will let us show you about Zach and Miri make a porno. And that was the poster. It's great.
Oh, go by moviecrypt.com and see the latest reviews for Saw 5 and some trailers for upcoming movies. And we appreciate you coming by, and we'll look forward to a couple weeks from now. We'll talk some more about movies.
Oh, no problem. Oh, Grim wants to add something here.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
As always, the undead are watching.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, whatever.
Well, it's Halloween, so we got to let him get his piece. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
No problem.
All right, you have been listening to
Nice talking to you guys.
We've been listening to Parahub Radio, the Internet's only rock and roll paranormal extravaganza. Pete and Anthony, thanks so much for being on the show tonight. Thanks to Brad Steiger. Hey, Catherine Ramsland next week talks about cemeteries. Y'all have a good Halloween. Bye-bye. Hey, this is Roughhouse. Thanks for listening to this week's Parahub Radio podcast. As always, you can hear us live every Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, 3 a.m. if you happen to be in the UK. Just go to parahub.org and click on the chat, and you can listen to us and talk to us while we're doing the show. Thanks again. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.
Doorways Magazine.
Journal of Horror and the Paranormal.
Our stories and columns as doorways to transport you to other places.
Some of those places may scare you.
Others make you sit back and think.
But all of them are here to take you out of your ordinary life for just a little while.
Where nothing follows the rules.
Where commonplace events have uncommon consequences.
Where the sound you hear.
Where the sound you hear or the movement you see from the corner of your eye is just as scary and strange as your imagination says it might be.
Visit us at doorwaypublications.com.